Hello, everybody. It is a Monday morning, and I tell you, it feels like a bit of a Monday this morning, although we had an incredible sunrise this morning. Trish, I don't know if you saw the sunrise
I did
early
actually.
today.
Very nice. Yes.
And you're out of Calgary, right?
Yes.
We are now physically distanced, but I love this opportunity that we have to have this chat. And we were just chatting before we went live how it's been since July, probably, that we have really had a face-to-face visit and work together, and lots of water under the bridge under that what now is the COVID kind of the COVID learning bridge. And so happy that you're with us today.
Thank you for having me.
For those of you that don't know, I think Trish, you've worked on working online for many years already, and this idea of really how do we engage our online guests isn't just. I was thinking about that this weekend. It isn't just about how all the bells and whistles that we put together, but sometimes it also means that we show up ready and engaged ourselves. And I have always appreciated how you have come to the table with lots of ideas and a willingness to give and to support. And so I'm really excited about this. The next Short Guides to Learning is Candy's Short Guide to Learning how to engage your online guests. So welcome with us today on this crazy, beautiful, actually, Monday morning here in Calgary.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Lisa. And, it's always such a joy working with you and your team because it's always something so different and so fun. So that's always something that I enjoy.
Well,
Yeah.
it's cool that in this virtual world right now. We were talking a little bit about collaboration as well, and
Mhm.
how sometimes the idea of collaboration can feel a little bit overwhelming for some people, or you feel like if you're like me, I've been planning events a long time, and there always is that little something niggling that's saying, you know what, you just need to work a little harder, or learn a little more, or take
Yeah.
another course,
Yeah.
or maybe take another webinar and learn how to
Mhm.
do certain things. And what I've learned, I guess, over the years, and especially this year, is that there's really no way for us to know everything,
No.
and that is honestly no fun either. But before we get started,
Mhm.
I will introduce everyone that hasn't joined us before. My name is Lisa Garrow, and I am the founder of Candy Event Consulting. And it is our joy and privilege to help anybody that is planning and promoting their own events, to plan more purposefully, to collaborate in stronger and better ways, and to build capacity in your teams, because that is our number one, probably the number one goal, even for 2021, is that we need to gain that strength within our own teams and know what's possible. So this whole idea of building this new initiative around Candy's Guides to Learning is that we get that you are busy and there is a lot going on. And if you are planning and promoting your events right now, is crunch time for next year. It always seems like crunch time in events world, but I know that a lot of our clients are really looking at what happens next year. How do we
Mhm.
go ahead? But I would love for you to introduce yourself, Trish, and what has brought you to this point. What are you working on today? And then we'll talk a little bit about how to engage online guests.
Perfect. Okay. So yes, so I'm Trish LeeMarasigan. I'm owner and creative director for Fotomoji Booth Co. in Calgary. We've been so we provide services for live events when we had them, um, but we do still we've adapted, and so I'll talk to you about that in a bit. Fotomoji's been going on since 2015. So we've come a long way since the beginning, and photo booths now are not just for, I mean, they're great for live events like private events, weddings and birthdays and all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we've also been really enjoying doing expanding it to a more kind of brand activation type thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to help out or assist brands to get their advertising and their marketing brand awareness through photo booths and video activations. So and since then we've grown so much, in this field, in this industry, and through associations like, you've been with ILEA and MPI and all those types of things. It's been wonderful. It's been such a learning, curve. And I love that you touched about learning earlier, because we did learn, you learn to adapt, especially this year. We've learned to adapt. And we've learned so much, so many courses, taken so many of those kind of like webinars that you were talking about. And so, and just trying to build. And the thing is, if you can't adapt and pivot at this time, it's you're just going to be left behind. And that's not what we want to do. We're innovators, we're entrepreneurs. We want to innovate. We want to be able to help and celebrate. And that's, give that unique experience through live events or online. Now it's all going to be, there's a lot of virtual events, and I don't think that's going to be going away anytime soon. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that since September, we've partnered with a company called Modern Photo Booth Company down in the East, out in the East, and we've been working with them for a long time. And with that now comes a lot more offerings, a lot more features, and like I said, just learning so much in this field. So yeah,
and really sky's the limit, which I think for so many of us, when we look at and not that a photo booth is necessarily a simple idea, but it's an understandable, great offering that when we first met, and I think it was probably when we launched one of our Moments magazines issues. And as you were describing what you did with the photo booth and the ease of the photo booth and the branding opportunity, that was offered through that was really attractive to me. But what kind of put that over the edge is that it wasn't just a plug and play, but you were there engaging with our guests. I think you are in several of the photos.
I had to be.
Launch. I know it was, and you just bring everything you've got to it. So it really is the combination of the technology and the cool, innovations around what a photo booth has become now over the last 10 or 20, maybe not even 20 years. When we first kind of heard the word of, that a photo booth was possible, it was kind of a new thing back when I started, maybe about 15 years ago. It was something that I was actually carrying around suitcases of stuff like backdrops and all sorts of cool things. And where it has come to now, where there is the innovation in the industry, but then how you can team that technology with a personality like yours, where you're saying, even when we, you and I worked on a virtual event in July, where, it was a hybrid event, but where you were actually on the phone or on text and supporting us through it. And what a gift that was to us and our team. And I can imagine to your clients where sometimes there's that feeling like, well, where does this go? And maybe it's just me because I haven't grown up with technology in the same way that people are growing up with technology now. But I really love this idea that you make it understandable, that it can be a lot of different versions of maybe a simple technology. You have allowed yourself to innovate around that. So what have you found in, you're saying with this new partnership, which is really cool, but what have you found in the industry that people are either asking for, or how are you getting people engaged online? And maybe if you want to back up a little bit and explain to those of you that are not familiar with an online photo booth or a virtual photo booth, maybe you can share a little bit with us about what exactly it is, and then how do you innovate within that space?
Sure. Great question. Actually, so right now with, doing the live events before, it's always been an engaging part of an event, right? So I love the phrase where people go, a party without a photo booth is like a muffin trying to be a cupcake. It's just not the same, right? It's something that you look forward to nowadays. When you go to a wedding, you go to a birthday party, you go to even like a Christmas party or anything like that. You always want to have that 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 experience of going to the photo booth, having fun, making goofy faces, and and since COVID started, it's been a struggle. Although things have already gone digital in a way with photo booths, we were able to provide before COVID even started. We were able to provide photo booths that just send you images digitally,
right,
and have the digital props and all that type of stuff instead of like the actual handheld props that you use for events. So with that, it kind of became easier for us, right, to transition into the virtual world that we know now. And some events have already started doing hybrid events, like live and digital at the same time. So with that, we were sort of an advantage to provide a service that's purely virtual. And nowadays, what the questions we've been getting from clients are, how do we engage the people that are there? How do we make it fun for them and not just, like sitting in front of a computer and just waiting for things to happen? Where now there's so many things that are being offered. You have the photo booth, you have mosaics, which is basically a photo booth. It takes your photo, and then everyone that's involved in the event, every photo then kind of builds this larger image. So there's branding opportunity now there, or there's like, let's say it's a picture of the couple that's getting married. So all their guests take picture, and it becomes part of that big, nice picture of them, right? So it's like
probably a keepsake too for them, I would guess.
Exactly. So there's before virtual, before we did the digital part of that, it was also a part of like the live event where you print out the little stickers, you kind of paste it on a wall. It's all numbered, and then each picture has their number, and then it builds up this nice mosaic photo. So that's how it was. Now we've taken that and put that into the digital world, and now we can give you a digital version of that. There's also now things you find like online trivia, virtual trivias, right? And virtual contests and all that. There's a lot of things to engage your clients. And it's right now we've been developing a lot of different things to actually kind of transition into those type of things as well. So with the partnership that we've created in September, we have developers now that can do basically anything you'd like. There's now you can do a scratch and win. I think you've seen this in the July event.
Yes, we did. Yeah. Could you explain that scratch win? Because we were looking at really broadcasting to the public, but we were actually in a public area where there was, for those of you that weren't there, there was a walkway, river walkway that we were working with, projecting onto, or with some musicians throughout the day, projecting onto the walkway. And there was an opportunity for people to actually engage with the event online. And that was such a beautiful idea that you had to actually do, with everybody that was taking a photo with this virtual photo booth, that they would have that opportunity to win a prize. And we had prearranged some prizing, and throughout the day kind of watching how this was going down, and then also how it allowed some of our clients or our guests to interact with some of the musicians or some of the public, and that it wasn't just, I think that is what I love so much about the technology and about your support, is that it's not just about taking a photo and remembering it and posting it, which is part of it. So we all kind of expect that right now. But the idea of your guests actually winning some prizing and some cool prizing, and showing some love to your sponsors by giving them some social media shout outs through that, but that there's some kind of an extension and a party beyond the party that was happening. And so if you could explain that part of the options too, I think that was a really engaging part of our day. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, the photo booth itself is basically like the photo booth when you go to a live event where you take a picture, and it creates this frame, an overlay that could be branded. It could be branded to the event itself. So whatever event that is, or if it's a promotional thing, or if you have any sponsors, you can have their logo branded onto each of the photos that are taken, right? And so after you take that photo, you email it. You can email or text it to yourself. And this is also another way to gather, capture emails for people, like for companies who want to capture those for their email marketing and such. And after that, after you email it to yourself or you text it to yourself, there is an option for you to have a scratch and win, kind of a contest type prize draw or something. But it's something that you can set up. You can have, different, like, I don't know how many prizes you have or different prizes. You can set it all up. So then we'll create a scratch card after they email it, which basically they just rub their phone or their laptop, and it tells you if you win or not.
That was so
right. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So with that, it
I remember asking you how exactly do you scratch? Like it literally was showing me. No, you actually scratch your phone.
Yeah, you actually do that. It's like
yeah.
And it's amazing how intuitive now, like, our technology is, right? So so that creates engagement, creates fun, unique experience for your guests, and they get to win a prize. Who doesn't like winning prizes, right? And yes, your sponsors too, your sponsors, and show appreciation to them and just let them know, these are all photos that can be branded to your name, and people will share them and will tag you, and those are marketing opportunities for them. So
amazing. So how are you, or what kind of feedback are you getting from, let's say, the bride and the groom, or maybe an event organizer that has hired you to do this? And I know that you've got all sorts of different versions of a photo booth. But what are they saying as far as how it has been creating engagement for themselves or for their guests?
It has been wonderful, for sure. It's something that they feel like it brings a little bit of normacy to their events because it's virtual. They want to provide something more. And what I always say, because it's always hard to get people to do it, so I always try to make sure I recommend them having photo booth time. Because if you don't do it at the same time, people tend to just listen and not think about it.
Yes.
And so that's it's so important for you to be able to include that in your program and make sure you have that time dedicated for everyone to do it, right? And you can't just do it one time, you have to do it several times, so it's a lot of work.
Well, and it's interesting because we were talking, or I was talking with another friend last week, and this idea how creating breaks in your virtual event, creating transitions in your virtual event, creating something surprising in your virtual event, and hopefully surprising doesn't mean everything kind of shuts down and there's no Wi-Fi, but this idea of orchestrating something where you're leading them on a journey, an experience, because you really do have, I talk about the command center and then this community connection. So the command center work for all of us that are planning and promoting events, it really is that the idea of what do we, as a broadcast, right? What do we want them to see? But then where are those areas that we can be pulling them in where they're not just interacting, but you're surprising them with something, or you're all doing something together, like with the photo booth, and you're all taking a photo together, and then they start to see sort of a stream of things happening online, and attaching hashtags and opportunities to find each other online, which is really cool too.
Yeah.
So I love what you're saying, because I think sometimes we forget that the guests are looking for direction. And one of the when I was putting this series together, one of the things I was saying is that it's no longer enough for us to say you can attend in your pajamas or in your yoga pants. Like that really won't cut it anymore, because people are looking for this heightened experience.
Yeah, you got to be photo booth ready. Right? You can't just attend in your pajamas now.
Well, and I think the beauty of Zoom is there's a lot of grace for everybody that shows up as they are. So there is
No.
and I think I've just lost you there just for a
Oh, I'm
second.
here. I'm back.
Oh,
Are we good?
yeah, you had a nice big laugh, and then that was it. I'm not sure
The
if you
beauty
heard
of
what I was
technology.
saying, but this idea of putting ourselves in their shoes, because our guests, we would want to, do unto others. So this idea of we would want to be engaged, and we would want people to take that extra step to make it interesting and worth attending. Yeah,
And the
so go ahead.
same thing, like when you were at an actual event, at a live event, do you remember
Yeah,
those times when there's that break in the schedule and makes you, and you're just so excited to line up to go get your picture taken at a photo booth?
that's
So you
right.
kind of have to give that same feeling for the audience, telling them, hey, like in 10 minutes, we're going to have a break and we're going to all take pictures. I mean, it's for them, it's that feeling of, oh, I can line up now, it's not, and the thing is, there's no lineup. You can just do
Exactly.
it,
Exactly.
which is great. But you
Beautiful.
have to let people know because, and ahead of time, because
Mhm.
you don't know who's going to show up in their PJs. So you don't want those.
Exactly, exactly. Well, and I think in that too, we actually had a couple of, like, for that event that we had done together in July, we actually had a few people already planted that were going to be showing people how to do it.
Mhm.
And our beautiful social media friend, Amy, Amy Crawford was with us, and she actually did a video showing people on her phone
Yeah.
that this is what you're going to see. Okay, I just took my picture. This is where it's going to
Mhm.
go, and this is how you post it on social media. And this is, oh, did I win a prize or not? And
Mhm.
oh, I have to try again. And she would just walk through it. And so that combined with a very dedicated space or time for people to actually engage,
Mhm.
and to also share the instructions and that opportunity, like you said,
Yeah.
a couple of times, right? Because
Yeah.
they might be just be observing the first time. They might be not be an early adopter.
Mhm.
Maybe this is weird and they're not sure, or they're not sure where that photo is going to go, or maybe they won't win a prize, but then they see
Mhm.
someone win a prize. So there's that feeling like, exactly as you're saying, I think that sometimes we just need to take the step back as organizers and say, where can we be plugging in opportunities for them and enough
Mhm.
time for them to actually participate?
Right. And just the other day, actually, we did an event for MPI Ottawa,
Mm-hmm.
and which was for their pre-prestige awards. So it's a structure that's a more structured event, virtual event,
Mm-hmm.
and they were able to embed the photo booth into the platform that they were using,
Oh,
which
that's
is
great.
yeah. So then while people are there watching the presentation, watching the people getting, being presented and
Mm-hmm.
doing their speeches, just on the side of it, you can just scroll down and take a photo from the photo booth. And it's right there in front, like on your computer. You don't have to move. You don't have to leave. You just, it's so easy. We're making it so easy for people nowadays. And we just
Mm-hmm.
really, our goal is to create that kind of experience and the feeling of normalcy again, with
Yeah.
these virtual events, because it's who we are. We provide unique experiences, and if we can't do that, then we'll just leave. We just won't do it.
No,
Why would
honestly, I think most of us will kind of resist for a little while, but there will be a time. And I just put a post up yesterday because I think every once in a while, like, I still get that feeling like, oh, what a year it's been, or wow, everything's changing. And we look at next year and things aren't really going back to normal. I don't think ever. I think our guests are expecting more. I think our teams are learning more. And that there's now so many, not even in a negative way, but there's so many opportunities available to us that I
Yeah,
think we really will be doing ourselves a disservice if we don't allow ourselves
exactly.
to go there and see what's possible
Grow.
and grow. Exactly,
Yeah,
that's right. So
yeah.
where do you get your when I said off the top, this, working with you has been such a joy because you have really leaned into the customer service part of what this is. You haven't just said, here's the link and let me know how it goes, and here's the invoice. You really put yourself in the space as a team member with us. And where does that come from for you? I'm curious, like, do you have a background in customer service or in events? Or?
I did have a little bit of a background in customer service. I used to work at retail stores and all that type of stuff. But I've also been a customer before. I've been a customer, I've been working for a corporate company and having all these suppliers and, vendors come to you. I was a marketing person. And so I put myself in your shoes, in the client's shoes. And I want that service. I want that support. I want to feel special. So it's something that I really value, and I feel like it's something that differentiates us from maybe other companies, is that I'm there. If you work with me, I'll be working with you. It's not like I'll just leave you be. Here's your stuff. Bye. Right. So
Totally.
I want to make sure it works for you. It's successful for you, because to me, it's not just having you hire us. It's creating that relationship with everyone, and I think that's the thing that worked for Fotomoji like all these years. So
exactly. Well, and I think when we talk about the change in dynamic, and a lot of people either shifting roles. So some of our clients that have been planning and promoting their own events, they might have been in marketing, but maybe they're doing something else now, or they still kind of keep their hands in the events. And really walking alongside our clients has always been really primary for us, because we know that they have worlds of experience, a lot of them, like you would have, in a corporate role, working with vendors, working with people, what you want. And in many cases, it's just a matter of helping navigate sort of where do we get what we need? How do we set a vision for what we're looking at? And the fulfillment of that it is all hands on deck, but I believe it's also all hearts on deck, because we really want people to feel cared for through the process. And working with people like you has been really fantastic for us. And again, the innovation around that we can be throwing out ideas, and we call it candifying an event. It's like, so what about this, and so this idea of where could we go with this? Like, and it's not just a rabbit trail, but it's like, where could we be looking at a new adaptation of what we've always known? And having people like yourself in our circle really helps us do that. How could people find you? We want to make sure that we're leaving them with your website or an email where they can get a hold of you.
Yes, absolutely. So you can find me two ways, actually more than two ways, but because of the partnership, now I have two emails.
Okay, awesome.
So you could email us through info@fotomoji.com, or Trish at mdrnphotobooth.com. So it's modern, mdrnphotobooth.com. And you can always go online and go see us there. Fotomoji.com or mdrnphotoboothcompany.com. And one thing that I wanted to add, I think you were mentioning it earlier, is that with creating that importance, like the collaboration, right? What was I gonna say? I totally forgot what I was gonna. Anyway, let's talk about something else, because I'm sure I'll get in a bit. But
well, you just used my favorite word, because I think that the idea of collaborating, and like we were saying, the idea of collaborating in so many ways, that I don't have to be the photo booth person. I don't have to be the tech person. We've got some pretty great live streaming partners across Canada right now, and even for our clients leaning in, our client base are those that are planning and promoting their own events. And I tell you, they are masters at collaboration. They wouldn't do it. They couldn't do it without really teaming with either other companies or other planners, or with their vendors, and really looking at a vendor or somebody is supplying a service like what you do as a team member. And that is a lot of our strategy and our coaching, is that we really need to be finding people that we can lean into, and they're going to lean into our vision and our goals, and this back and forth that starts happening. I think that that's where a lot of energy is created, and where the innovation comes.
Yes, absolutely, and that's where we shine the most, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, so I totally remembered what I was going to say. So I was just saying that, thinking that our goal really, and for us to provide more value to anyone, to our clients, is to have us in as early as possible, so then we can actually provide you with ideas and see how much better this event could be. The thing is, a lot of times photo booths or are like the type of work that we do, we're like the last minute type thought, right? And it's like, oh, maybe we should add a photo booth at the end, but
Right.
you don't know what we could create together if you do get us in early.
Mm-hmm.
So
Great
that's
idea.
something that I've been trying to promote as well, is, like, have us in. It's like, I used to work in construction. Well, and I was doing marketing. And the thing with construction is, if you have the construction people be there during the design phase, then you're not, you have more, they could give you tips and recommendations on how to design it, so you're not redoing things and you're not doing too much change orders, right? So I kind of like have that mentality, like, get us in there early enough so we can give you that option and give you suggestions on how we can make things better for you. So.
And it really lends itself well, when we do a strategy session for our clients. We look at what we call an event cycle, and it's all of your connecting points. And I call it a connecting point an event, or a campaign, or a meeting of some kind, or an AGM, or whatever it is. And so in the 4 or 5 hours we have together with teams, we actually map out 12 to 18 months. And what you're saying about coming in early, that cycle map, or looking at your connecting points, allows us to say, how do we bring Trish in? And that there's a lead up to the event, and then there's a follow through from that event, and then there's another 3 other little smaller things that are happening, and then you've got this campaign. And as a marketing manager, you probably understand that as well, that having, it's not so much a downtime, but there might be more of a quieter time, but then you're coming back into engagement again. And looking at this long-term relationship with a vendor like yourself, or a partner like yourself, allows you then to feed in some really great ideas on, well, if we did this here, and then we did this 6 months later, and then another, follow through on this one, then we can really get, I was going to say playful. Then we can start to play, because the sandbox has changed, because it's not just about checking off the boxes and calling you quick because we need a photo booth, but really leaning into your expertise and your innovation, for a lot of different touch points where it might apply.
And that's what I enjoyed working with you, Lester. Like, I know this is how you do things. This is that you get people in early, right? And even before getting that client, if you're pitching something and you want to get that client, maybe we can help you and give you that opportunity, or that little thing that would, just entice your client or entice someone to say, okay, well, we'll hire you. And that's how.
And I would also say that would entice guests to show up and be excited about showing up, and that this event would be worth it for them to attend. Thank you so much for being here. Before we let everybody go, I do want to say again, we just started our Candy's Short Guides to Learning. This is a series, and I'm going to just be picking topics because that's what I do. Things that I think are relevant or current. I've been getting a lot of questions and some emails around sponsorships, and even holiday and New Year's campaigns, or maybe year-end campaigns, and how do we put those together. So I'm looking at possibly doing another one next month around sponsorships. But it's really, to me, what a joy to have you on our Candy team. As far as just being a great partner with us and with our clients that we work with. And we are the whole, I'm doing a couple of interviews with people that have really taken engagement to another level, which is why you're here, Trish. But we've got on November the 5th at 2 o'clock, I've got the next Candy Short Guide to Engaging Online Guests. So I'm going to be doing a whole full hour webinar, and then there's a downloadable booklet that comes with it so you can follow along. But it's just a chance for us to think differently about what engagement means for our online guests. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure we'll see you around all over the place online and do pretty cool events. So I hope I will put all of your information in the chat box below. So everyone have an amazing week, engaging week, and don't settle. Let this be your week to just push it to the next level. We'll see you again.
Thanks.